I was having a conversation with Fernando, I think last week, and we were talking about Mark Davis and how I don't blame him for everything that's going on. But then he does something like this, and he's yelling at Raider fans to smarten up. And I'm just like, look, at this point, it's been 20 years. You haven't done much in terms of what you see on the football field. Everything I've heard from fans who are upset that yeah, the move to I understood the move to Las Vegas because the facilities in Oakland were terrible, and I understand that. But like, there's no culture when it comes to the fans in Las Vegas because you pretty much sold out to everybody to be able to come and watch the games there from all the other fan bases. And there's just the other thing I've heard from fans is that there is no more culture in terms of like the fan bases aren't getting together. They're not having that camaraderie that you see from people, from fans. They're not getting together to go to games. Even as you guys talked about at SoFi, it was dead when it came to Raider fans. They're not there anymore. And I think he's starting to lose support for the team. And I think that's the next thing. He needs to do something. Like, I understood that you didn't draft Jalen Carter because of what happened with Ruggs. You passed on a great player there, but the draft picks haven't been there for this Patriots West. They can
Yeah.
the offense looks even terrible with Josh McDaniels. Eventually, you just have to let somebody you change the culture, do something, because you're on the verge of losing everything here. Yeah, you're gonna make your money and you're gonna do great financially, but losing the culture is gonna be big for this team. And I think you can't get that back. Once you lose it, we saw it with the Rams, we saw it with the Raiders when they left LA. It's hard. And you're seeing it as well in San Diego with the Chargers. When you lose that culture, it's hard to get it back, and it takes 2 or 3 decades to get it back. So for me, it's Mark Davis.
Steelers, Packers, Cowboys, 49ers, and Raiders have the five strongest fan bases in the NFL. And if the Raider fans are diehard, if they
Die
lose
hard.
that,
Die hard.
if they're willing to die for that silver and black, like legit, or go to prison for it. Like, if
Look how
you're
it's pop culture, dude.
no, I know, but like,
pop culture.
if you lose that, you're an idiot if you're Mark Davis, because Al Davis did everything he could in a sense. I know at the
build it.
end he was going senile and he had some weirdo picks and
Build the
all that
brand.
stuff, but he did a lot for the silver and black, and that's the thing that he wanted. He wanted the silver and black to be committed to excellence, and unfortunately they just haven't in the last 20, 25 years. But Mark Davis is at the point where it's teetering. Raider fans are starting to peace out on the team, and I mean, they'll still buy the gear and everything because the gear looks cool, but the fan support at the stadium, I think, is going to go down, 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 and they could have they could have a problem like the Chargers did when they first got to LA, where just fans just don't care anymore and they're not going to go. So I mean, everything can change with a quarterback. Like, if you get a big time quarterback, yeah, like if they got Caleb Williams, I'm sure fans would come back in, but right now it's not looking good for them. But Dan, go ahead with.
Wait, I just want to say real quick that that's a good point, Victor, because this whole Vegas thing, they are taking over, and everybody wants to go to Vegas. So I am never going to be one to knock people to make your money. You're going to sell your tickets. If you got Raiders season tickets, and you're selling them, you're making bank right now. But it's just so tough because you weren't getting anything in California. He didn't have the money to do it, private funding. And what do you do at that point? But it did cost them the culture, and you're starting to see it right now. And one of the best environments I've ever been in a football setting was Raiders hosting the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. I got to be they let people on the field in Oakland. I got to walk around. It was an awesome setting. I love the environment. And it feels like you're not getting that in Las Vegas unless they win. That was a good point by you. They got to win. But seeing the way the culture has been and not seeing them come out in LA was a little kind of surprising. And I guess because the losing has been really taking a toll on them.
Yeah, I feel it. Dan?
I was just going to add to that. I really don't like that because it reminds me of, that famous quote of "let them eat cake," right? It's like, these are the people who essentially Mark Davis, and just like in that instance that I gave, that rulers or like the nobility or whatever, they depend on them whether they like it or not. And to kind of, piss on their back and tell them it's raining, how the hell do you expect any support for anything? And that's the thing that I'm sure, I don't know if you've been to a game in Vegas yet, Vic, or not.
I have not.
But like, I'm sure you see some of the things like I've seen in some of the Charger games. Like, you have guys in like not their Sunday best, but like it looks like they're gonna go meet mom and dad at the game, and you don't see a lot of jerseys, and it's just weird sometimes. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's just like an influencer type thing or a hipster type thing where it's like, oh, I'm so cool, I'm at a game or whatever. It's just weird, some of that now. And everyone remembers, like, obviously when Schottenheimer was there and all these guys, obviously we hated the Raiders. But I mean, I always loved when the Chargers played at the Coliseum, because then you'd see the black hole and everything else. That was so sick, and I always respected the hell out of them. Do they even have a black hole in Vegas or no?
No,
Or
it's a
is it not?
DJ zone.
No, that's what.
See, and that's the
It's
problem
love.
right there. That's garbage. But yeah, that's the only thing that I don't like. I think it's very disrespectful to the fan base, who are probably mostly blue
And
collar.
the history of that franchise.
Yeah, and the history of the franchise, exactly. Like, he's pissing on the memory of his own father at this point. And it's like, they spend their hard-earned money to support this club, and it's like, for you to turn around and tell them to smarten up, and they're essentially calling them unintelligent. They got eyes too, Mark Davis. They see the garbage that's on the field.